the Kumburgaz UFO. This sighting comes from Turkey, specifically just west of Istanbul in a village known as Kumburgaz. This town is on the shore of the Sea of Marmara, and it was actually over these waters that Yalçın Yalman allegedly spotted and filmed a strange, unidentifiable, and what appears to be flying object while working as a night watchman. In fact, he was able to see them so often he began filming it, and was able to capture it on camera for around 2 years straight, from around 2007 to 2008. He would actually bring these tapes to a ufology group in Turkey, and when released, would make headlines both in Turkey and across the world. And even though it was being viewed by millions of people, no one could identify the object or explain what it was. The footage shows what to me appears to be a metallic, disc-like shape with what appears to be a window in the front. However, what some may find disturbing is the fact that you can see what appears to be two figures sitting in some kind of cockpit. Although the footage was a little shaky since it was not filmed on a smartphone but an actual video camera zoomed in, some individuals have managed to enhance the video, leading to the release of this image. After our Underwater Mysteries video, I want to put a big disclaimer and say I don't know if this photo is genuine, but doesn't it just look so alien? No pun intended. Another group known as the National Council for Scientific and Technological Study analyzed the video, but came to the conclusion that they believed it to be a hoax. Despite this, however, they would also say that they believed it to be a physical object made of a material not known to be from any known aircraft. Thus, it fits into the category of UFOs. So what do you think? Hoax? Natural phenomenon? Or alien spacecraft? Let me know down in the comments below. The Lubbock Lights. We've all heard likely countless stories of lights being spotted in the night sky, sometimes 3 on a triangle, sometimes just a single light, but what about as many as 30 in a V formation? On August 25, 1951, 3 professors from Texas Tech University reportedly saw around 20 to 30 lights in the sky around the time of 9 p.m. They also reported that the lights were moving and described them as flying overhead. Quick disclaimer, I couldn't really find any information on how exactly the lights were moving, only that they were moving extremely quickly, over 600 miles per hour by the professors' calculations. They were also able to confidently say they believed the lights were not planes, birds, or some kind of meteor shower. Professor Grayson Mead would also write to the newspaper about the lights. According to him, and I quote, "The lights appeared to be the size of a dinner plate, and they were greenish blue, slightly fluorescent in color. They were smaller than the full moon at the horizon. There were also a dozen to 15 of these lights. They were absolutely circular. It gave all of us an extremely eerie feeling." But what gives this story credibility, other than distinguished educators' reports, is that the lights would be spotted again only 5 days later, and this time they would be captured on camera. On August 30th, 1951, Carl Hart Jr. saw what he described as around 18 to 20 lights in a V formation. Taking his 35mm camera outside, he managed to take 5 photographs of these lights before they were no longer visible. The local newspaper would buy these photos from him for around $10, about $110 today, and told Hart that they would run him out of town if they were fake. These photos, however, would never be proven to be some kind of hoax, and they would end up being published across the country, even making their way to Life magazine. This is why it would grab the attention of the United States Air Force, who would begin an investigation into the phenomenon in late September of the same year. After interviewing several of the professors present, they seemed to really believe that these lights were simply some kind of plover, birds. The professors, however, adamantly denied the possibility of it being birds, saying they were just moving far too quickly, in addition to it being just too big. Eventually, Edward J. Ruppelt, the man conducting the investigation, would reach his conclusion, writing, "They were not birds, refracted light, or spaceships. They were positively identified as a very commonplace and easily explainable natural phenomenon." Now you may think that sounds like the story's busted, but he would never actually go on to explain what the phenomenon was. In fact, he claims a scientist was able to track down the source of the lights, but requested to remain totally anonymous in exchange for his answer. Erupt claims the reveal of what those lights were would reveal the identity of the scientist. So don't worry guys, the government says it's not aliens. Oh, what was it? Don't worry about it, it's just some natural occurrence, not important, just absolutely not aliens. The Pentagon Footage. 2020 was a year I think many would like to forget, but one thing that shouldn't be forgotten is that around April of 2020, the Pentagon actually released 100% real and genuine footage of UFOs. In fact, they actually released 3 videos. One of the videos features an oddly shaped object moving unpredictably through the clouds, against the wind, and eventually even started rotating, giving the impression that it can choose to rotate and stop rotating on command, assuming it is actually a vehicle. Voices can be heard from those controlling the camera and following the UFO, and both seem surprised and confused by the object, unsure of what it was or how it was able to move the way it was. The object in question is an oval shape with what appears to be a tail or maybe some kind of antenna. Another shows what appears to be a white object flying at incredible speeds over the ocean. In fact, it is moving so fast, it appears that the Navy's automatic tracking system seemed to have a hard time locking on to the object, as the man operating the camera seems to feel very excited when he finally manages to track it. In my opinion, the object almost looks like an arrow or a paper airplane. These videos were actually captured between the years of 2004 to 2015, and since they are being released as footage of UFOs, I think it's safe to say that the origin of these objects, or even an understanding of what these objects are, has never been discovered, which I'm sure makes a lot of UFO enthusiasts happy. 100% real, irrefutable, no hoax UFO footage. But although I'd hate to be a party pooper, I'm hesitant to share my opinion on if these UFOs are in fact alien spacecrafts, as if they were able to confirm that they were in fact aliens, I'm sure they wouldn't be releasing the footage. However, that does not mean it isn't, as a Pentagon spokesperson has said that the Navy has always considered the phenomenon observed in those videos as unidentified. So, you never know. Just remember that if the government ever shows us anything, chances are they've already found everything there is to be found within it. Before we get into the next story, I asked my subscribers if they thought aliens or extraterrestrials existed, and 79% of you said yes. Ironically, this is kind of a number that I see repeated a few times, as it seems about 80% of people believe aliens exist. However, no one is really able to tell me if they believed aliens have come to Earth. If you want to be part of the next poll and have a chance to be featured in next week's video, be sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss it. Houston, Texas, UFOs. We all know Houston. It's a name that has become synonymous with space, space travel, NASA, and the like. So it's only fitting that if we were visited by aliens, maybe this would be the first place that they would go. Well, that may be more of a possibility than you think, because Houston isn't just home to one UFO sighting, but multiple. So many in fact, I could make a 5 Houston UFO sightings video. One such of these sightings is this one, uploaded to YouTube on November 2015, in which a triangle shape of lights can be seen flickering in and out, with the person behind the camera even suggesting that the lights look like they were falling out of the sky. Or this video, taken on the night of September 18th, when multiple drivers were believed to see floating lights above and around Highway 99. This sighting was captured by multiple individuals, even some that look shockingly like the, dare I say, stereotypical alien spacecraft we may expect to see. A long, flat, disc-like shape covered in lights. This one in particular would actually end up being a mass sighting, with photos flooding Twitter of the light phenomenon in August of 2014. I would like to remind everyone that it being a UFO does not automatically mean it's an alien flying saucer, but it is undeniably so alien. It is just so unlike anything we've made, or we likely will make. A couple of people have attempted to explain away the sighting as a natural occurring light reflecting off windows, and other such theories, but those are just their theories. No one has ever fully been able to definitively prove one way or another whether or not this truly is an unidentified flying object. I would describe myself as a skeptic by nature. Although I find the subject very fun to tackle, I don't often find myself believing outlandish conspiracy theories, but the number of sightings of UFOs in the Houston area has really got me thinking about that if these sightings are truly genuine, what is it about the Houston area that's attracting these flying lights of unknown origin? Well, to start this segment, I mentioned that perhaps it's because Houston basically acts as the American space travel capital. But what if it's something else? What if there's something special about the area, and these entities know it, and maybe NASA knows it too? What if there's a reason instead of Florida, instead of Nevada, that we picked Houston? For someone like me, it's impossible to say, but let me know what you think down in the comments below. McMinnville UFO Photographs. This sighting, although dated, may be some of, if not the most famous photographs of a UFO ever taken. In 1950, a farmer by the name of Paul Trent and his wife, Evelyn, spotted what they would describe as a slow-moving metallic disc flying above their farm. In fact, it was actually Evelyn who spotted the disc first and alerted her husband, who reportedly came outside and physically saw the UFO before returning back to the house to grab his camera, where he managed to take 2 photographs before the flying saucer reportedly started heading west. Initially, the Trents claimed they didn't share their discovery with very many people, fearing that they had just seen and photographed what was a military vehicle, and perhaps top secret in nature, as it was so unlike anything they had ever seen before. So fearing that sharing the info may get them in trouble, they mainly kept the story to themselves. In fact, the film wasn't even developed until the rest of the frames were used to shoot family photos the following Mother's Day. But every great story deserves to be told, and eventually they would tell someone and tell someone else, until one day, a local newspaper reporter caught wind and convinced Paul to loan him the photograph's negatives. After examining them and determining for himself that the negatives were not fake or tampered with, he published the Trent story and the 2 photographs on the front page of the local paper, with the headline, "At long last, authentic photographs of flying saucer." After being picked up by national papers, several investigations into the photographs discovered several interesting pieces of information. For one, the lighting underneath the disc compared to that of the area was softer, meaning it was not a small local object, but rather something bigger, farther away. Another investigator determined it to be a real physical object in the sky above Trent's farm. One discrepancy, however, was that although the Trents claimed the photo was taken in the early evening, multiple sources claimed the lighting of that in the photos suggests it was actually taken in the morning, possibly around 10 a.m. Even though that does not line up with the Trent story, everyone agreed that they were honest, sincere, and simple farmers, and they say they had never once tried to make money or get famous off the photographs. In fact, the reporter who convinced Paul to loan him the negatives would never actually return them, instead giving them to various other institutions where they would exchange hands for the next 25 years. In 1970, the Trents would not even ask for money for the negatives, but simply, because they had not been paid, asked for the negatives to be returned. It would still take another 5 years for this request to be fulfilled, however, when Bruce Maccabee ensured that they were returned after his own investigation. Although there are a few theories into how the Trents may have faked the photos, Evelyn Trent would pass away in 1997, and her husband Paul Trent in 1998, both reportedly claiming that the sightings were real until the day that they died. Well, that's it for now. Be sure to like the video to help the algorithm, and subscribe to see more content like this. If you enjoyed this video, why not check out this one, where I talk about hoaxes that fooled everyone. I'll see you next time.